Around the country, anti-Semitism is on the rise. I showed you last month the peaceful demonstration by the Jewish community in Sydney, standing up against anti-Semitism, against racism. It was a peaceful assertion of their rights and of Australian values and multicultural tolerance. But have a look at what happened when a similar protest was held in Adelaide on the weekend and a pro-Palestine or pro-Hamas mob found out about it. Yeah, they turned up and chanted and they drowned out the Jewish protest, separated only by a line of police officers. Some of the crowd's posters included the slogan, "From the river to the sea," which of course is a direct lift from the Hamas charter goal of eradicating Israel and annihilating the Jews. There were no arrests as these protests competed for attention on North Terrace in Adelaide. But again, Jewish people and supporters of Israel were intimidated. Let me bring in one of the organisers of that event, Freya Lynch. Freya, thanks for talking to us again. You're at that event on the weekend. Is this a mistake by authorities to allow a protest against your peaceful demonstration, effectively, to turn up there and try and interrupt and drown yours out?
I can't believe it, Chris. I mean, the pro-Palestine people are out in Adelaide every single weekend. The Jewish community and lots of other people from the Christian community and just secular Australians decided to come out for one day, on one afternoon, for 1 hour, and we were met with horrible, cruel chants trying to drown out and shut down our event. I don't understand how they were allowed to stay there by the police. Originally, we were told they would be moved on, but then I guess the mob must have grown so strong that they backed down and just caved and let them scream at us for a full hour.
Yeah, now the police say there were no arrests and they were just there trying to make sure both groups had a peaceful protest, and good on them for doing that. And we all support free speech. But as you say, it's so obvious in this case, they weren't there just to make their own point. They were there to disrupt your peaceful protest and make sure nobody could hear about the Israeli hostages, about the concerns for anti-Semitism in this country.
That's right. And this wasn't even a pro-Israel protest. This protest was about combating anti-Semitism in Australia. So why are you out here protesting against tolerance, against cohesion, against peace and respect? That's what I don't understand. Maybe if it was an Israel protest, people have different views on that. But this wasn't even about Israel. This was about anti-Semitism here in Australia. And you want to shut that down? That to me is so concerning.
Yeah, it's a shocking caper and it's difficult to know how to deal with it because the police trying to move those people on would create a ruckus. And of course, there'd be accusations of shutting down one side of the debate. But you're very active in universities as well. Tell us about the anti-Semitism that you're seeing in universities, because we know that some of the major universities in New South Wales have been telling students they're allowed to have the time off to go to pro-Palestine protests and that they're even allowed to speak about their particular political points of views before lectures and tutorials, even though it's got nothing to do with whatever subjects they're studying. Is there any similar slack being cut for protests against anti-Semitism or drawing attention to the hostages still being held by Hamas?
It's really hard for Jewish students on campus at the moment. I've heard reports from first years who in their first lecture at university had socialists come into the lecture theatre and talk about their strike for Palestine, distribute pamphlets that were levelling horrible accusations at Israel. It's just insane. All over campus, it's plastered with Palestine material. We have people in keffiyehs walking around campus all the time. Every single day, the socialists are out there trying to mobilise the student body against Israel and consequently against Jewish students. It's reaching unprecedented levels. And for pretty much every single Jewish student I've spoken to tries to avoid campus as much as physically possible because it is such a hostile environment. You can't walk anywhere without seeing pro-Palestine material and posters calling Israel an apartheid state, genocide, talking about Netanyahu as the butcher of Jerusalem. all sorts of horrible, horrible stuff. So it's really hard. And I don't know what action is being taken by the university, but it's just not enough.